I'm Simon Jones, and it's my great pleasure to welcome you all to Igarss 2013. Welcome to Melbourne, and welcome to Australia. I'd like to extend a particular welcome to our international delegates. We have more than 1,300 scientists from over 60 countries here today. I'd also like to acknowledge and thank our sponsors and exhibitors, including our platinum sponsor, Geoscience Australia, and our other major sponsors, Esri, RADI, the Chinese Institute for Remote Sensing and Digital Earth, the Bureau of Meteorology, and the CSIRO. I'd also like to thank the GRSS ADCOM for their support, and in particular single out the efforts of Professor Adriano Camps. Lastly, I'd like to thank the outstanding efforts of our Igarss 2013 Local Organising Committee. I can't name you all here, but I do want to thank you all. This is the 33rd Annual International Geoscience and Remote Sensing Symposium. Igarss has a wonderful tradition of gathering together world-class scientists, engineers and educators in the fields of geoscience and remote sensing. This year, our conference theme is Building a Sustainable Earth through Remote Sensing. It explores the role of satellite, airborne and ground-based sensors for atmosphere, cryosphere, ocean and terrestrial systems research. We've also made a conscious effort to embrace the geosciences and to put the geo back into Igarss. Please take the time to explore our wonderful city, the conference, exhibition and social events, and the great program of speakers assembled. I hope you all enjoy your time here. Now, unfortunately, we were going to have a welcome to country by Auntie Joy Wandon Murphy AO, but Auntie Joy's unwell and she's unable to join us today. I would like to show my respect and acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land, of elders past and elders present, on which this event takes place.
Thank you, Simon. I'm your other co-chair for Igarss this week. It's now my very great pleasure to welcome Senator the Honourable Kate Lundy. We call Senator Lundy the lead Minister for Space in Australia, although her official titles are Senator for the Australian Capital Territory, Minister Assisting for Industry and Innovation, Minister for Sport, and Minister for Multicultural Affairs. Now, right up until the last minute, the Senator was going to join us here today, but unfortunately, the Prime Minister intervened, and he has organised a meeting in Sydney for the full parliamentary wing of the governing party, and unfortunately, he didn't check his Igarss calendar, and it's clashing with the Minister's obligations with us this morning. So she has very kindly prepared a pre-recorded video message for us, which we're going to show in a moment. Now, Senator Lundy is a very strong and long-standing supporter of technology development. She recently oversaw the development of Australia's new satellite utilisation policy, a very significant statement which she is going to tell us about. We are delighted to hear from the Minister this morning, and would you please join me in welcoming her in her absence. Thank you.
I'd like to begin by respectfully acknowledging the traditional owners and custodians of the land on which you're meeting today, and pay my respects to their elders, past and present. I would also like to extend that respect to other Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples who are present with you. To Professor Simon Jones and Dr. Peter Woodgate, General Co-Chairs of the Symposium, Professor Melba Crawford, President of the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, Geoscience and Remote Sensing Society, to Dr. Peter Staker, President and CEO of the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers. On behalf of the Australian Government, I'm delighted to give the welcome address for this, the 33rd International Geoscience and Remote Sensing Symposium 2013. I regret that I'm unable to join you in person this morning, but I'm delighted that technology has at least enabled me to be with you from a distance. I know that this is only the second time this important symposium has been held in Australia, so let me warmly welcome all of the international delegates to this event. I'm sure the hospitality of the Australian delegates and organisers will make this a memorable one for you. This year's symposium theme, Building a Sustainable Earth Through Remote Sensing, was selected to emphasise the issues that most affect the Earth's environment and the human impact on the planet. It's a commendable selection. It highlights how critical space capabilities and the information they provide are in monitoring and addressing environmental issues in the face of the challenges of climate change. More than ever before, space capabilities are opening up new windows on Earth and what is happening in, over and under it. They underpin cooperative environmental strategies to help mitigate natural disasters, monitor our forests, oceans and vulnerable ecosystems. Such capabilities also provide a rich source of environmental monitoring for many industry sectors, including the agriculture, mining and resources and construction sectors, often for the first time on such a comprehensive scale. It is crucial for all countries to utilise space-derived information in effective and innovative ways so that we can improve our social, environmental and economic well-being and create a more inclusive, greener and fairer world. Australia has been a conduit and a user of Earth observations from space from the early times and an early adopter of satellite communications. Recognising the importance of satellite technology for such a vast and vulnerable continent as ours, I launched our first space policy on the 9th of April this year. The policy, known officially as Australia's Satellite Utilisation Policy, will provide certainty and strategic direction to our users of satellite technology. The overarching goal of Australia's space policy is to assure ongoing, cost-effective access to the satellite capabilities on which we rely, namely through Earth observations from space, position, navigation and timing, and satellite communications. Obviously, the policy title gives the game away. We depend on satellites and satellite-related infrastructure and the enhanced capabilities they give our industry and our researchers. This policy will ensure that Australians can continue to access the satellite capacity we need through partnerships with other countries and commercial suppliers. Not only is this policy important for the messages it sends to end users, but a good space policy will also pay economic dividends for Australia. For example, our use of satellite imagery alone was estimated in a 2010 report to contribute around $3.3 billion per year to our GDP. In 2008, positioning technologies like GPS were estimated to have added $1 billion per year to GDP, and this is forecast to grow to between $6 and $12 billion by the year 2030. Importantly, this civilian space policy is realistic and practical. It focuses on ensuring that Australia has access to the space information it needs for its socio-economic and environmental well-being over the short to medium term. Coinciding with the launch of the policy, I also announced that my department would establish a Space Coordination Office. This new office began operating from the 1st of July as the central point of coordination for all Australian government civil space activities. The government's vision for the office is for it to provide a conduit for communication and engagement between government and international and domestic stakeholder groups, and to provide a whole-of-government narrative on Australia's important space activities. The new office will also manage the Secretariat for the new Australian Government Space Coordination Committee. This will be an interdepartmental government committee responsible for information sharing across organisations on Australian government civilian space activities, including priorities for these activities. The office will also be the Secretariat for the new Space Advisory Committee. This committee comprises representatives from state and territory governments, industry and research organisations, and will be a key mechanism to provide the Australian government with advice from the space sector. The $40 million Australian Space Research Program funded some 14 projects between the years of 2009 to 2013. It was very successful in building stronger links between industry and researchers. The ASRP funding has been the catalyst for the establishment of a number of new centres in Australia with sophisticated space-related capabilities, and these include the Satellite Positioning for Atmosphere, Climate and Environment Research Centre, established by RMIT, the Advanced Instrumentation and Technology Centre, established by the ANU, and the Australian Centre for Space Engineering Research, established by the University of New South Wales. In addition, several of the programme's projects have had a clear focus on geoscience and remote sensing. For example, the Flinders University project, Place and Space Perspectives in Earth Observations, employs Earth system science researchers to engage with students who seek a career in the Australian space industry, and it has exposed some 2,000 students to the possibilities of Earth systems science. And it's also enabled 80 teachers to participate in professional learning to build their capacity to bridge inquiry-based learning with university science and engineering research. The Australian Government's National Collaborative Research Infrastructure Strategy, or NCRIS, also supports several capabilities employing remote sensing technology. In May this year, Auscope's global navigation satellite system was augmented with the launch of a $1 million robotic antenna calibration facility at Geoscience Australia. I launched Australian Seismometers in Schools program, another facet of Auscope. This will place a range of equipment, including 40 seismometers and 100 lower-grade quake-catcher units, in schools and community sites nationwide to record seismic activity, including earthquakes. Apart from providing real-time monitoring on the Australian continent that will feed into national and international data sets, it will help boost students' interest in the geosciences and encourage them to take up careers in the area. And those of you who were at the launch would know how excited many of the students were just to have the opportunity to work with that equipment and the technology. Some of you here today may be familiar with Australia's Integrated Marine Observing System. This system uses satellite sensing to monitor sea surface height, temperature and colour, all of which are critical indicators of marine health and climatic variability. IMOS is a national-scale in-situ ocean observing system which has been supported since its establishment in 2009 with $109 million in funding from the Australian Government's NCRIS and Super Science initiatives. For those who aren't aware of it, the Australian Government's Cooperative Research Centre, or CRC, supports the user-driven research collaborations to address major challenges facing Australia. CRCs pursue solutions that are innovative, of high impact and capable of being effectively deployed by the end users. The CRC for Spatial Information continues to produce rigorous and collaborative work to enhance the space capability area. The CRC for Spatial Information received $46.9 million in Commonwealth funding between 2003 up to 2018. Why? To spatially enable Australian and New Zealand industries and communities. Its research targeted at supporting the creation of a coordinated national network of satellite system reference stations, establishing a marketplace for spatial information, and combining existing data stores with the rapidly increasing stream of data from Earth observation satellites, airborne imaging platforms, and ground-based sensor systems. To ensure relevance and connectivity across the spatial information sector, the CRC has forged key relationships with various non-equity holding partners too. These include all of Australia's leading spatial peak bodies, the Australian and New Zealand Land Information Council, representing government interests, the Spatial Industries Business Association, representing private industry, and the Surveying and Spatial Sciences Institute, representing the spatial profession. All these organisations are involved in the CRC's research. Ladies and gentlemen, before I close, I'd like to acknowledge the CRC's excellent work. It plays a pivotal role in Australia's geospatial activities, and our capability in this area continues to grow. Finally, I want to register my warm thanks to the Symposium Committee for organising this event, but particularly to the General Co-Chairs, Dr. Peter Woodgate and Professor Simon Jones. I wish you all the best for a successful 2013 International Geoscience and Remote Sensing Symposium. I do wish I could have been there with you in person, but it wasn't to be. Good luck.
Thank you, Senator.